A festive tale always has a beginning and an end, and in this case, I'm going to mark 1982 as the beginning, because 1982 was the year that Telecom Gold was launched by British Telecom. Now, Telecom Gold was really an online communication service, but one which interfaced with other systems in various countries. A kind of early limited email system, if you will, which even allowed you to send telexes, which could be printed off and delivered by post to any address in the UK. The service initially ran off just two prime 750 host computers. Primarily, if you'll excuse the pun, Telecom Gold offered a messaging service, but members could also access a notice board area, allowing sharing of information, stories, news, and even real-time chat. Members could connect to the service using a standard modem and terminal program, broadening their horizons and opening up a wealth of real-time information which most of the world would have to wait for. Other options were available, but the most promoted setup was a BBC Micro and its ability to display a multitude of screen modes with a suitable modem. In fact, magazines such as The Micro User were brimming with advert upon advert for the service, especially after Telecom Gold scooped up MicroLink, allowing your Micro to become a terminal linked directly to the Telecom Gold mainframe computer. Powerful stuff. Database Publications MicroLink was an online database system, which brought a multitude of users, groups, features and services along with it. The combined Telecom Gold and MicroLink service offered the ability to communicate to a larger number of members through the Dialcom network and opened up a large database system offering news, user groups and other distractions. Really a kind of online magazine and, at the time, a rival to Micronet, which ran on the Prestel video text service, which funnily enough was also owned by BT at the time. Navigating this database would reveal a multitude of services, information and interests. Among them was an online fantasy game called Shades. Look at this guy, Neil Newell, living the absolute 80s dream as an online arch-wizard. Good on you, Neil. Like most of these games, Shades was a text adventure, but with the addition of being multiplayer. Yes, this was really an early MMORPG with a user base in 1988 of some 6,000 players. You could gain access to all this glory for just a £5 registration fee and a recurring £3 a month fee, along with the costs for your modem, computer, phone bill charges, additional online access charges, etc., making claims like this a bit dubious. But hey, it was the mid-80s and this technology was new and exciting. But you won't find Father Christmas tucked away in Shades, or lurking in a chat room, of course. He's far too old-fashioned for that. No, instead we need to fall back onto good old-fashioned electronic mail. In fact, Santa had already made an online appearance in the past, thanks to the bulletin board Santa Line, which ran 24 hours a day during December 1983 in the United States, and offered the ability to send and receive messages to the bearded chap himself, no doubt as he gorged himself senseless on mince pies. If you were a reader of a UK computing magazine in November 1986 though, you may have noticed a snippet similar to this in the news section. Messages to Father Christmas need not depend on the efficiency of the postal service this year. To ensure that every child can contact him before the big day, the jolly old fellow has gone online up at the North Pole, equipped with an Atari Micro no less, although this seemed to change to the relevant machine depending on which magazine you were reading. Santa has hooked up his workshop to the giant MicroLink computer in the UK. So yes, if you had access to a MicroLink terminal, then all you had to do was type Santa at the prompt and type in your message. The system would then route the message directly to Father Christmas himself, whereupon you would receive a reply. Outstanding stuff. We've got messages from the likes of Sarah.
Dear Father Christmas, I really want a BBC Micro. My brother has a Spectrum, but I want something solid and reliable to crack him around the head with. I tried with his Spectrum, but all the keys fell out. Many thanks, Sarah.
But also, messages from somewhat older users.
Dear Father Christmas, I'd really like 3 Swedish hookers that absolutely senseless for Christmas. Many thanks, Dave.
It turns out that the North Pole MicroLink experiment was a roaring success, despite receiving more messages from drunken adults than perhaps had been expected. I'm sure the elves had a lot to deal with that year. 1,000 messages were received in the first week alone, with roughly 6,000 in total, with more than a third believed to be from adults. Derek Meakin, head of MicroLink, reported the response as being incredible, stating, "It seems that adults enjoy sending messages to Father Christmas just as much as children do." Mind you, what he made of some of the more grown-up requests, like the one for a blow-up rubber doll, is beyond me. So it seems that even in 1986, Santa wasn't safe from trolling, although I'm sure a number of the adult messages were genuine. Maybe even that one. Anyway, that's my short Christmas tale about MicroLink. Thanks for watching. There's some more stuff you can click here. Else, I'll see you after Christmas. I hope you have a tremendous day, or week, or however you spend the festive season. See you soon. Have a great evening.